Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn at pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Help! Help! Fire alarm, fire alarm, fire alarm. Now, this is shut the... Cannot imagine how loud this is. And there's strobe lights, which gives me migraines. Hang on. It'll be over soon. Yeah. What? Damn. Okay. See, I'm not in an actual studio, so we have no way of shutting this damn thing off. In the studio, we just got the strobe light. Oh, stop it! Is it safe now? God, that's going to happen once a month. Dear God in heaven. Hello. Welcome to the show. It's a Tuesday. That means my sister Susan is on the line. Susan.
Yes, I was previously a hearing person.
Did you you got it full blast too?
I heard all of that, and it hurt.
You have no idea. Because and we're in a rather small enclosed room. Jeez. Wow. Anyway, that's going to happen once a month. Used to just be the strobe lights because we were in an actual studio that was, the sound didn't get in there, but God. Anyway, hi.
Hi.
Why are you sort of on a little delay?
I don't know. I'm talking in real time to me. Wow.
There's like a second before, to me. I mean, you're like, yeah, it's a little slower. And somebody pointed this out before, too, that there's seems to be just a little bit of a beat that, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway,
because the second you stop talking, I start on my end.
No, that's not how it's coming across it's weird. There's a full beat. But it's okay. I'll get used to it. Hey, I want to thank Ronald in Tampa, who today sent me this lovely clock, and it's on the right time already, and it sits right here. And I think that's because we were talking about that I might need one. So if you guys are going to send me stuff that I say I might need, I'm going to get a little more, I'm starting to think, what could I ask for next? Because you're
a Tesla. You'd like a Tesla.
I do want a Tesla. A Tesla S? Somebody? So, yeah. So, yike. Oh. Blah, 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 blah. What a. So the New York Times today has this graph where its editorial usually is. And it just has the calendar pages from, I think it's starting in June of 2016. And it blacks out every day that there was a mass shooting in the United States. And I got to tell you, there are fewer days where there was not. And in some of the cases, the mass shootings were 2 in one day.
Well, that was a commemorative shooting.
Well, yeah, we got to talk about that too. My God in heaven. Because this guy, this latest, has upped the game in every way. He brought the shooter up, which makes the potential for disaster greater and the body count greater. And we know, that there are always copycats after this. So from now on, look up. That's probably where it's going to be coming from. In 477 days, there were 521 mass shootings in the United States in the last months, in the last 477 days. A body count like this, if it were related to a war we were in, would be astonishing. I'm serious. They weren't dying like this quickly, this fast in Iraq. It's amazing what we tolerate. It's amazing what we decide.
No, it's not it's what's foisted on us. I mean, and I do not understand why we, the majority, cannot make our elected representatives do what we would have them do, and why instead the NRA holds the reins. I don't get it. I mean, I don't get why good-hearted folk get elected to the office and somehow find it impossible to vote the way they thought they were going to vote.
Well, because, I mean, you know the answer.
Well, I
the
do know
answer
the answer,
is
but
that
it's
money
disheartening.
Money has corrupted our system, so that these guys these guys in Washington, excuse me, who you think, I mean, in your civics class you learn that they are there to represent you. That's not true anymore. They're there to represent whatever lobby groups gave them the money to win their campaign, and the groups to whom they're beholden. And since the NRA passes out money like candy and threatens not only to take money away from people who don't vote with it 100%, they'll go after them. They'll fund a primary challenger or whatever. They'll go after them and get them out. So it's simply, I mean, we know the answer. The answer is they're not representing us anymore. They're representing their own job security. They're afraid.
How they can imagine, how they actually manage to mute the will of the American people that are willing to try, let's just start with common sense things. I mean, in Nevada, anything goes.
Right.
Absolutely anything goes.
Right.
And this is the result of anything goes. And all these people sitting around looking for the motive of this white guy who liked to gamble too much but apparently had plenty of money to do it with. What difference does it make what his motive was? His motive was clearly to shoot as many people as he could before he killed himself.
Right.
And that's the beginning and the end. I mean, that's the motive. And I'm sorry, as long as there are no rules and about how many, how much, what kind of ammo, how you can alter a gun, how you can do any of these things, we might not be able to stop all of them, but we would certainly stop some of them. I cannot believe that we as a people do not simply find this unacceptable and say, okay, cut it out. I know it's not going to happen. I simply do not understand how time after time we just shrug our shoulders and go, well, thank God it was a country music class, and I wouldn't have been there anyway,
What? Listen.
Well, I don't go to concerts, period. But
listen. Every time now someone goes to a stadium that is surrounded, you'll look around. Are there high points anywhere around the stadium where a shooter could just take out? I mean, we are insane, and you can't say that it doesn't lie with us, the people, because the people in this country.
No,
we have a vote.
We are allowing this.
We have a vote. And if, in fact, we cared about this carnage, then we would vote out everybody who refuses to start passing legislation that starts to get a handle on this. I despair. Yeah, we're, I don't know. Yeah, look at the calendar. We're the mass shooting capital of the universe. And
well, yeah.
I want to thank every single one of you.
Their own private arsenal.
Everybody who belongs to the National Rifle Association, if you're paying them dues, the blood's on your hands more than it is on mine. I'll tell you that. If you belong to the NRA because you think they represent sports people, that was what they used to do. The new iteration of the NRA is they are the marketing arm of the gun and ammo manufacturers. And they're amazing. And they're also shaking down senators, congressmen,
also just,
legislators.
totally cynically arming militias.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know.
It's enough to make me choke.
I think we've got a call. Let's get the caller in. Hello? Caller, hello.
Hi, Lynn. This is Mary in Murraysville.
Hi, Mary.
How are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Not well. I'm on a media blackout, except for your show, but here, take it. And there's a bill that passed the Senate. I don't understand why it went through the Senate first.
Oh, it can. Things can start in the Senate and then they go to the House.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with legislative process, but this is in the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
For teachers or employees to carry guns in schools, and it's in between the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Don White, I think, proposed the bill, and he said that it was because one of the math teachers at Franklin Regional was scared when the stabbing happened.
What? One of the math teachers was scared when the stabbing happened.
At Franklin Regional.
So we need to give guns to teachers?
That's what this bill is proposing, or other employees. I don't know if the janitor gets a gun. I'm not exactly sure who.
Yeah.
But I just want to know why a math teacher at Franklin Regional has a voice and I don't. I mean, I've written everyone, and I get a call back from an intern, a clueless intern, saying thank you for my letter. I tell them my story. They don't listen.
Well, you had a child in that school that day.
I had a child in that school that day, and my child was stabbed, and he spent over a month in the hospital recovering, and he did make a full recovery. If somebody had a gun that day, it would be far worse, and somebody would be dead, and we would have probably no answers to anything.
Right. I don't, I understand why you're on a media blackout. I mean, the sense of sort of powerlessness.
And it's been, that kid has been sitting first in the juvenile detention center and now in Westmoreland County Prison for, it'll be 3.5 years almost.
Right.
We haven't gotten a trial yet. We haven't gotten justice. No, because I don't know why.
There won't be.
I'm beyond frustrated.
You're not going to get justice. I mean, what would justice look like to you with that kid?
I don't even know what the right answer is. There is no answer. That's the frustrating part.
Okay.
Justice to me would be just banning these rapid fire assault weapons. That would make me feel so much better. At least, knowing what I've gone through, it's bad enough when they live. I can't imagine if my son had been killed or somebody else had been killed.
The bill you're talking about, I have some information. Yes, the Senator Don White says it was because of the school stabbing at Franklin Regional High School, which is outside of Pittsburgh, in 2014, where one student with 2 kitchen knives injured 21 people before he was subdued. And I guess a school district could decide whether they want to do this or not, but it says that any school personnel would be permitted to carry a concealed firearm, and this could be any school personnel, so it could be the janitor, could be a teacher, who have the proper training and who pass the same psychological evaluation that municipal police officers must pass. Well, we know
we can see how well that works.
I was thinking, you don't recall any time where municipal police officers discharged their firearms in a situation where they shouldn't.
This is legislation that's being advanced in many places. It's probably boilerplate,
Right.
and it's coming out of these right-wing think tanks.
That's right.
And there's this little course in gun safety and emergency training, and it's voluntary, but anyone that wants to do it and be in the district could do it, provided the district allows it.
That's it.
That's the way these things
Boilerplate, and they're passing, I'm sure, in state after state. Who
I don't know what their passage rate is, but they're being introduced in multiple places.
Who was it? Who was it? Betsy DeVos who said that teachers should be armed in case a bear walked into the classroom.
Grizzly bears, right? Grizzly bears.
Grizzly bears walked into the classroom. Oh boy, Mary, how's
Who aren't used to
Mary? How's your son doing? Generally, psychologically, everything fine? Yeah.
I'm not going to say everything is great, but he's getting done what he needs to get done, and I'm proud of him. And keep on keeping on. We got him some help he needed, and it's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's a hard thing. So, Mary, thank you for your
he's
call.
He's a fighter, and he needs to pat himself on the back for that.
Yeah.
Mary, thank you.
Yeah, we tell him every day how great he is, just because,
Right.
We have a friend who was a POW in Vietnam for 2 or 3 years, and he's dying now, and he said he's going to give Connor his Purple Heart.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he deserves one. He does deserve one.
That's what this man, this is what this man feels like. Connor deserves one.
Yeah.
And I kind of think he deserves one, too.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Thank you, Mary.
Well, send him our best.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, real people. These are real people.
Yeah. So Roger writes, how do you get that many guns in one hotel room without drawing any attention? Well, I've heard a lot of people
Well, he wouldn't let anyone touch his luggage, and he apparently had 13 suitcases, and he just brought them in over the course of 3 days, they assume.
Really?
They'll be reviewing the
cameras.
They'll be reviewing.
He had 13 suitcases. Wow. Yeah. Roger writes, a coworker thinks the Vegas shooting is a hoax perpetrated by the media. It's an anti-gun ploy. Nobody in the office joined the discussion to say he was crazy. When I said it's really sad when people stop believing science and journalism, he said you can't believe journalism with the way they slant things. I work in an office of Trumpies, a bunch of white guys who live in the suburbs. Are we doomed? Oh, God.
Well, that is, that's breaking news this morning. That was disseminated by Sputnik and this right-wing, purveyor of lies that was starting at the very beginning how they were going to blame it on liberals and
4chan
and
Susan.
Terrorism, and it was disseminated, for many, many hours on Twitter, Google, and Facebook.
That's correct.
And all of their algorithms totally missed what they're supposed to get. I mean, they used to have real live people that checked this stuff too, but they disbanded in favor of algorithms who clearly can't tell the difference between real
humans
stuff that's really happening and planted fake news.
Right.
And when and the reason that they disbanded the group was because outcry from right-leaning, conservative, what they call conservative outlets that seem to find actual facts to be political.
They thought they were
therefore
slanted.
Debatable.
Right, exactly. This is there was a piece. I suspect you read the same one, an opinion piece about how the algorithms that Facebook and Google use supposedly to vet things that are being placed on their platforms are totally incapable of they're easily hoodwinked. This is when we let machines do thinking for us. I'm wondering, Facebook and Google, I don't think they employ anywhere near the number of people they should.
Obviously not.
They don't have humans.
And, you know, what I have to say to Facebook, you know, who are the ones that disbanded their actual human beings for fear of looking liberal, you know, screw them. Screw them if they think a fact is somehow slanted. A fact is a fact. The way you apply them in an opinion piece might be slanted, but a fact is a fact. And misappropriating or identifying people who shoot, you know, thousands or hundreds of people, and or the political affiliations of those people, before you just put it right out there for hours and hours, fake news. Hire those people back. A fact is actually a fact.
Yeah, Google and Facebook.
And a lie is also a lie.
Google and Facebook have blamed their algorithm errors. So
yeah, both of them. They're algorithms.
They're and here's what they say. The one time they used to have people doing this, and then the right wingers, as Susan said, started. The people worked with like Snopes and the AP to check things and to get things off that were wholly incorrect, and they were accused by right-wing outlets as being slanted to a liberal point of view and knocking their kind of stuff off. So Facebook and Google back down immediately, and they get a computer, an algorithm, to do what the humans were doing, and it's gotten worse because the algorithm is they're incapable, because the people who are playing the algorithms in Facebook and Google, they know how to get around this stuff. They know keywords. They know things that will immediately flag whatever they're trying to disseminate as, news, important. They know how to write a headline. They know, they got it down. So no sooner had this shooting occurred in Vegas than the trolls from 4chan, from Sputnik, as Susan said, from other right-wing sources, from Alex Jones, they were actually talking to each other about how do we pin this on the left. And they were putting stuff out there that the shooter was known to be an anti-Trump liberal who liked Rachel Maddow. That was one of the ones that was out there immediately. That mainstream news organizations were suppressing that he had recently converted to Islam. And before Facebook and Google can take these things down, they've already been disseminated to thousands or tens of thousands or millions of people who eat it up and believe it, which is how someone who Roger works with can say, this didn't even happen, this is a hoax.
Yeah, well, and let's not minimize it. It's not like they put it up and oops, you know, it had spread like wildfire before they could take it down. It was up for a lot of hours.
Mm-hmm. Here's what Kevin Roose says in the New York Times today. He says tech companies should act decisively to prevent hoaxes and misinformation from spreading on their platforms, even if it means hiring thousands more moderators or angering some partisan organizations. Facebook and Google spent millions, billions of dollars developing virtual reality systems. They can spare $1 billion or $2 billion more to protect actual reality. What a world we got going.
Yeah, if you're going to make billions of dollars off of the platform, I'm here to tell you, you bear some responsibility for its content. It can't just all be a one-way flow into your pockets with no responsibility.
Yeah, exactly right. Incredible. So let's talk about, how the mind-blowing thing to me is that we do know that if this shooter were a Muslim, this would be terrorism. Somebody explain to me why, if the shooter is a white American male, then it's not.
Right, and why we allow, why we think that's the, white American males, apparently of any age, are this benign group who should own as many guns as, they want.
No, they're always, if a white male, an American, does these things, it's always, he enters this strange subset called lone wolf. If a Muslim
and he must be crazy, so nothing you can do about that.
Nothing we can
Shrug
do.
your shoulders,
goodbye,
clap
everybody
your hands,
move on.
Walk away.
Right. If a black person, a brown person, an immigrant, a Muslim does it, terrorism. Terrorism. Now, my understanding is that part of this, though, is a definition that terrorism has to be hooked into a specific political, ideological motive, right? So it's terrorism when they're trying to get something, do something. What's so bizarre about this guy is, as you pointed out, there's no motive. He isn't asking anything of us. He just wanted a trophy, I guess, of some sort.
I think, I'm at 3 o'clock in the morning, I just make stuff up in my head, and all I can focus on is the one thing we know about this guy is that he was a gambler and a good gambler, and he must have gotten a thrill out of that for a very long time. Maybe he stopped. Maybe this was the ultimate thrill, and he knew he could have it once, and then he was done, and he decided to do it.
And Susan, explain to me why I keep hearing that this is, I'll just quote the one thing I'm looking at here. I hear it in a million different ways. They're saying the deadliest American shooting incident in modern American history. I've heard that. Modern American history, which seems to, fudge it a little bit. And in a New York Times piece today, they say perhaps the deadliest single shooting episode in American history. Now, excuse me, we don't know? What is the perhaps about?
All I can think of is somebody's going to pop up with some guy in the 1800s blowing away whole Indian settlements, and perhaps
one guy.
Well, who knows? There's a reason that they're qualifying it, and it's probably because it's recorded history.
Well, I wish they'd tell us.
That leaves unrecorded history, so you modify it. You weenie out.
The fact that we don't know what the most horrific single-person shooter, mass killing in this country is, that doesn't say something about us? Why can't somebody tell me what it is if it's not this? I mean, that would get historians' attention. So what is it? It either is or it isn't. God damn it. Alex Jones says it was a plot by deep state Democrats. Pat Robertson says it was divine punishment for the profound disrespect shown to Donald Trump. Get me a gun. I'd like to shoot these people. Oops. It's funny how there's laws where I can't say something like that. But I can go right out now and buy guns up the wazoo. Let me read.
You can buy everything you need to get it done, no problem.
You can't say it
to your car, ma'am.
Yeah. So let me read something that Gloria Steinem wrote, I think a long time ago, actually. I want any young men who buy a gun to be treated like young women who seek an abortion. Think about it. A mandatory 48-hour waiting period, written permission from a parent or a judge, a note from a doctor proving that he understands what he is about to do, time spent watching a video on individual and mass murders, traveling hundreds of miles at his own expense to the nearest gun shop, and walking through protesters holding photos of loved ones killed by guns, and protesters who call him a murderer. No, but
Me too.
Huh? I mean that.
Me too.
I mean, we are nuts. Okay, so the scary thing is what I said is this guy has. I mean, first of all, this is we talk about American exceptionalism. This is American.
This is about it.
This is American exceptionalism. There's no other country, no other nation that has this problem. None. None. You want American exceptionalism? It's standing by, doing absolutely nothing, why thousands and thousands of Americans are killed and children killed by guns every day, and yet we keep making it easier and easier to possess them. So some guy who's a political scientist said, the question people ask about this kind of violence is, can I imagine myself in the situation of those that were killed? And yes, we all go to public events, to concerts, to a football game, to a this or a that. So it is terrorism in that it terrorizes people. Because now we know, geez, even if they have metal detectors where I go, what if there's a tall building 500 yards away?
There doesn't even have to be a tall building. There can be a drone.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So, Tom, Susan, you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I heard some strange.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom says, your conversation about Facebook using algorithms reminds me of Stanislav Petrov? Wow. Who the hell's Stanislav Petrov? The man who averted a Oh! I'm the one who talked about his obit. That's right. The man who averted a nuclear war based on his gut and not trusting the computer. Tom. Susan, this guy died, I don't know, months ago, actually. And he saved the world in 1970. No, I'm blanking on the date. But he's a Russian in charge of their, watching to see if the U.S. was shooting missiles. And their computer
was launching.
Their computer said that three missiles had been launched from the U.S. and they were heading at the Soviet Union. And this guy, even though all the satellites were telling him, yes, this is true, blah, 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 he thought, I don't think so. So this was one human who refused to push his button in retaliation.
Because he just knew it didn't make sense. Yeah.
How many people are going to be able to summon that kind of courage and say, I'm smarter than this friggin' thing here? It's got to have made an error. It reminds me, it just flashed into my head how when my appendix ruptured, how I go into the ER and they do all their, technological gizmo stuff, sticking me in machines, and the machines told them my appendix was fine. It was ruptured. They were ready to send me home 36 hours later. They kept me because I was sick as a dog. They were ready to send me home when one doctor, a surgeon, walked in and said, I have a feeling something's really wrong here. Are you willing to go into surgery? I want to put you in the OR right now. The other doctor had told me I was free to go home and die. So they cut me open, and the mess he found there, he said he still couldn't believe it. And I later developed, complications from it because there was no way to clean me out enough. That was when they believed the machinery rather than their own eyes and my agony, right? This goes on all the time. These machines in some ways are amazing, yes. But if we just give up our own oversight of them, we're doomed. Okay. Let's just get off the subject for a second.
What other cheery thing do you want to talk about?
A flu shot. Usually by this time I see in my drugstore and stuff, flu shots available. I don't see those signs yet. Why is that?
Well, yeah, they certainly are. I mean, I see the signs, but they aren't making the big push. I think that they've decided it's better if you wait a little longer.
Huh. Well, I have something to say. We have a caller. Hello, caller.
Good.
Hello.
Hey, Lynn and Susan, it's Mike in D.C.
Yeah, hi, Mike.
How's it going? So, I think these two issues are related, the gun shooting, the media, and your appendix bursting.
Okay.
We don't know how to think critically.
No.
We've been told that there's proof in Google that just read the news article. You don't need to be an active participant. You just need to take things in and have feelings about them, and then your mind is working. But what we need is to look at information critically, and I learned that in graduate school. The professor said, in undergrad, we tried to get you to regurgitate information, and now in graduate school, we're going to try and get you to look at information critically and see how it could be correct or not.
Well, my only problem with that is that you shouldn't wait till
they waited that long.
Yeah, I mean,
really.
College. What? You're not high school. You're not supposed to learn how to think critically. You're just supposed to be an empty vessel.
Yes.
An empty vessel. Yeah. Well,
and then also,
it's not just critical thinking. It's a measure of courage. Because Petrov stood alone. What if he'd been wrong? He ended up saving the world when he could have been accused of, I don't know. Well, of course, if he shot stuff off, the world was going to be destroyed if he did what his algorithms.
He was still punished. Russia still punished him for...
That is true.
The Soviet Union still punished him for doing the right thing. He was still punished. It wasn't until years later that they said, you did the right thing, thank you.
But...
So you're right, it does take bravery.
Yeah. I suppose the doctor who told me I really just have this gut... He said gut feeling about your gut. I have this gut feeling. Now, it could be he was being courageous because if he were wrong and he cut me open and everything was fine and I developed an infection, I'd sue him for, malpractice or something.
No.
No, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't. No.
Sam would, right. But, no, he was thinking critically. He said, what about these facts don't agree?
Yeah.
I have this really sick woman who's presenting these symptoms, and then I have this test result. Something doesn't agree. That's critical thinking.
And
right? Like there's a white man with 40 guns who's shooting up people in Las Vegas. What about that might not be fake news? And I promise you, they didn't need to read the news stories saying it was fake. The minute that it happened, their justification came in and said, "Look, this is fake."
Because
they don't even need the propaganda now. They're all trained to think, no, this is fake.
Well,
because it doesn't agree with my feeling.
Yeah, no, we're screwed. I mean, that is frightening to me. How many people now have abdicated their ability to think, to see facts.
It's understandable, though, because thinking is painful. Thinking is work. What about this could be wrong? Takes mind energy. And if you're working 3 jobs and you're eating fast food and you're trying to get your kids out the door, they don't have time to think critically like I do without kids and a job where I can feed myself with 1 job.
Listen, I was a single parent with 2 jobs, and I was still capable of thinking critically. I don't buy that.
You were also paid to think critically. You were paid to think critically. Your job told you, we want you to think critically.
I think there's a whole group of people that are more comfortable with being told what to think and what the rules are and how to react. And I would argue that a lot of them are very religious people who, and that's not to say that you can't critically think and be religious, but there are a lot of people that simply find solace in being relieved of that burden. Like they tell you a good dog should be trained, and relieved of the burden of making their own decisions.
That's right. Yeah. God.
I mean, I think it's a character. I would call it a flaw, but it's definitely a trait among. And I can look at people that I know that just prefer not to critically think. That's as you say, painful.
Jesus.
And Bill Maher said it's related to religion too. That if you're trained all this time to just believe in this magical book, that the answers are in this book, that I don't have to think because Jesus says.
Oh dear.
Well, yes.
Okay, you 2 are depressing me. Get out.
Well, that's not hard.
Well, no, it's not. But remember Mike, when you called, I was talking about how I don't see a lot of signs for getting a flu shot this year. And the thing I wanted to impart is that a study has shown that if you are in a happy, upbeat mood when you get your flu shot, it has more efficacy.
Oh, shut up.
Greater levels.
Well, then I need to get off the phone because I'm going to get my flu shot this afternoon. So
I'm going to say I was going to get one, but you have so depressed me, I'm not going to get one today.
Well,
because I got to
get
be
one today too, but
all right.
Okay, well now you're smiling. You're in a different frame of mind. Okay.
All right.
You can't wait for 3 years. Just go do it.
Okay.
Bye, Mike.
Goodbye.
Bye. No, it says greater levels of positive mood were associated with higher blood levels of antibodies to the flu, H1N1, a potentially dangerous flu strain. So whatever. Don't be depressed when you get the flu shot. It won't take as much. We've got a caller. Caller, you there? No? They went away? Hello, caller.
Hello, Lynn?
Yes.
Hey, real quick, it's this thing with the killings. It's a result of a free society run amok with no regulations, no rules. Freedom has a price, but you got to have rules and regulations, which they don't want. They want to be able to do anything they damn well please, and that's what's happening. Have all kind of guns and whatever until you rein in the rule, make rules better, and you're going to have this. It's a sad thing. And then you have these people that you can't talk to them. They believe that they should be able to have any gun they want, machine guns. It don't matter. So it's a no-win situation.
All right.
I don't know.
I don't know either, Joe. Apparently you called to just further do me into not getting my flu shot today. Yeah, all right. Thank you.
All right, sorry about that.
Bye. Bye.
But on the plus side, it's amusing me.
Okay, I have a few other things that make get us a little happier. Susan, you recycle, right? You recycle? Like cans and... Okay.
Yeah.
I've never said this to anybody, but the one thing that I sometimes don't recycle is a peanut butter jar.
Oh, because it's impossible to get clean.
Yeah.
I
mean, I spend hours. The other day, I was scraping it out manually and then sticking hot water and trying, and you can't get it clean. And then I'm thinking, well, here's the weird thing. In the science section of the New York Times today, somebody asked the question, does it make ecological sense to run hot water and spend all this time trying to recycle responsibly? Is it worth the hot water needed to clean a jar of peanut butter? Or should it just not be recycled?
Was this in the ethics column?
No, it was in the Q&A.
No, the science? Okay, so what's the answer? I'm curious.
The perils of peanut butter. It says, recycling information site says, first of all, it tells you a way to clean a peanut butter jar. It says, scrape out as much peanut butter as you can, then fill the jar about 1/4 full with water, add a drop of dish detergent, put on the top, and shake vigorously. Dump out the contents, and the jar should be clean enough to recycle. I'm still saying that's a lot of friggin' work. What do you think?
Yeah. Well,
I have battled more peanut butter jars.
There are a lot of things that, in my mind, fall into the category of I'm not going to get that clean enough. I can't get all the oil or whatever out, and that goes into the trash.
Well,
I mean, they're pretty explicit in Chicago about how they want it and what they want, and blah 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 blah. And if they see so much as recycling in a plastic bag, they won't take my recycling. They'll just label it trash.
Huh. We have a call. Hello, caller. Hello, caller?
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Hi, Susan.
Hi.
I have, this is Susie from Swiss Home Park.
Hi, Susie.
I have the best solution.
For peanut butter?
Cleaning out peanut butter jars.
Go for it.
I do.
What is it?
Find somebody who has a dog.
Oh, right. They just lick it out. Right.
That's right. I give mine to my dog.
Yeah, it has to be a dog, it has to be a big dog with a long enough tongue.
That's right. Now, my dog can barely get the very bottom, so I'll just scrape the bottom enough so that she can get it, and the rest is history.
I love it. I love it.
And it goes right into the recycling bin, and then, at first, I didn't give it to the dog. Well, she would, rip open the recycle bags to get to it. And I thought, well, what the hell am I doing? So I would just give it to her first.
There you go. Smart.
Why not?
Perfect.
That's it. Susie, way to go.
Yep.
Thank you. See, I'm in a better mood.
Okay.
I'm in a better mood. Thank you. That's great.
Okay.
Yet another reason to own a dog.
A dog.
Either that or find somebody who has a dog who, will give the dog peanut butter.
Yeah, I was going to say, some owners say, oh, no, Fluffy can't have peanut butter.
I have a friend around the corner who has a Great Dane. Maybe they'll take your peanut butter jars.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.
Good to hear from you. And she sounds so upbeat, pert. Oh. So, Susan.
Yeah.
So you saw all these great Onion headlines about all of this. Here's some Onion headlines, which they can use. I mean, as I said, since we've had how many? 521 mass shootings.
Yeah, they can run them every day.
Yeah. And here are some of the Onion's, they're sort of called evergreen headlines to be used in a mass shooting in the United States. Here's one. NRA says mass shootings just the unfortunate price of protecting people's freedom to commit mass shootings. You know who said something almost exactly like that? Who's that SOB, one of the sexual harassers? Oh, O'Reilly. O'Reilly actually said,
yeah, but he was serious.
It's the price you have to pay for freedom. That's what he said. I wonder if he'd say that if his child was one of the dead. Sorry, Bill, it's the price you have to pay.
Or, as you pointed out earlier, if the perpetrators weren't all, white men.
Yeah, that's right. Here's another Onion headline. This shooting isn't about gun control we refuse to pass. It's about access to mental health care we're continuing to gut. Hey, by the way, the other thing is, you better hope. So that the Republicans, will go to the mat to allow all of us to have these arsenals and the freedom to have these arsenals. But they don't go to the mat at all for all Americans to have the freedom to access health care.
Right, so that when they get shot by somebody with their gun, that they can afford what's going to be the lifelong medical bill.
That's right. I wonder how many of those poor 500-plus injured victims, yeah.
And they're all traumatized. I mean, everybody there is traumatized.
Yes.
And so there's even people that were not physically hurt will bear real emotional scars from this, and probably all of them should seek some sort of help.
Yes, no doubt. Mark writes, Sandy Hook remains the saddest gun event in my memory. If that did not stir people to action, I agree with you. I'm not. If we didn't do anything after Sandy Hook, and we did not, all those dead children did not change a thing. In fact, since Sandy Hook, we've relaxed the gun laws.
No, it comes roaring back with rage. Since the net effect of Sandy Hook is arm the teachers.
Yeah.
That's it.
So people are calling on the people who own guns, who hunt, who whatever, have them for personal protection, the good gun owners, first of all, to stop supporting the NRA and to say enough is enough. And Mark says, and I want to double down on Jimmy Kimmel for president. Trump this morning, did you see what he called Las Vegas? He said it was a miracle. He said it was, he was full of his superlatives. It was miraculous how the police helped so many people and found the shooter. It was miraculous. He sounded like that idiot woman saying that it was a good news story in Puerto Rico. What is with these people? And you notice there's still 48% of Puerto Ricans still do not have water. Still do not have water.
Right.
And
no,
they're totally not on the... Susan, you see how we just get... I think we should all wear those neck braces you have to wear for whiplash, because...
I know. Well, Trump just gave himself an A+ for how he responded. He said, we get an A+ in Florida, and we're doing just as good in Puerto Rico, he said. So he just graded himself an A+. That's all that matters. And, that grade was really in doubt. God. All right. And here, the final Onion headline. No way to prevent this, says only nation where this regularly happens. That's right. Right.
Apparently, all these other nations of the world that don't have this kind of thing, they, I guess, figured out something that we refuse to acknowledge. And it's not that in those countries you can't necessarily have a firearm, because a lot of them people do. But they don't have this. Oh, man. All right. And finally, Susan, this was in the Wall Street Journal today, I think. Yeah. When did you first feel old? That's the headline. Do you have any specific memory, Susan?
No. I don't know. I still don't.
You don't feel old? That's good. Excuse me. I remember... Damn it!
Well, yeah, here, give yourself a good throat clearing while I pretend that I'm trying to remember a time when I felt old. No, I actually actively feel the other way. I am constantly surprised to find myself here.
Find yourself as old as you are, you mean?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, I remember our brother saying once, he was walking down the street, and he, looked at a window, a store window, and he saw this old man. And it took him, like, who knows, a millisecond or a second, but it felt forever to realize that the old man was him. And he was,
right,
like, freaked. Oh, my God! Look at that old man. And then he thought, my God, that's me! And I think that happens to a lot of people. Or here's some other ways people found out. You go to a concert. Oh, that reminds me. Oh, God. I am brought low by the death of Tom Petty. I just want to say that. He is my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite. And I have been listening to him all the way in today. I listened to him all day yesterday. I can't bear it. So I just want to say that. I can't bear it. But you're old when you're at a concert of somebody you really love. And as it gets, a little late, you start thinking, geez, I wish this would wrap up. And oh, God, the traffic. It's going to be so awful, right? You're old.
I'll take it back. I knew I was old when I was exercising, and I was in some position at which I could, gravity was affecting my muscle tone and skin, and I could see it, and that upset me.
Yeah.
No matter how strong and fit I was,
the skin was hanging.
Was old and crepey.
Right. The skin was hanging. That's it. Or you're going to buy something, and a well-meaning person says, oh, no, you're too old to wear that. Which I wish more people would tell more people.
Right.
Frankly.
Oh, right.
But, or for a lot of guys, it's when, like, they're wrestling with their kid, their son, and they realize, oh, my God, he's stronger than I am. I've heard a lot of guys say when the minute they had to, like, cede the strength trophy to their kid is a moment when you feel old. So, here's the one. Anyone will get, Susan, you'll agree with this. So you're filling out some form on the internet, and you have to put, let's say for a airplane ticket, right? And it says your birth date, and you put in the date, the month, and then you put in and then you go to year, and they make you scroll
for 4 hours
down, and you're sitting there scrolling for, my God, it seems like 15 minutes till you get to your birth year, right?
Yeah, but these days I'm always buying a ticket for Mom, too. So I have to scroll so much longer for her that she makes me feel young again.
You got to, go almost 100 years.
I got to go to 22.
Yeah, man. But anyway, this also is from a piece that reminds us that, or when the barista calls you sir. My favorite thing of when I've known I'm old, but the time and I've told the story, that I was in my car in a Wendy's drive-thru. This was in Wilkinsburg. And I see a clearly beggar person approaching my car. And I think, oh, shit. But I can't not. So he shows up at my window, and I don't want to, but I pull, the window goes down, and he says, please, and he does a litany. He was homeless, he was, hungry, he was this, he was that. I said, no problem. I just reached into my wallet, and I pulled what I thought, anyway, it was a 20. And when I saw it was a 20, I didn't have the heart to put it back in or ask him for change. And I gave him the 20. And he looked at it and he said, "Oh, Granny, thank you." And then he said it, "Thank you, Granny. Thank you, Granny."
Did you
I tried to snatch it back. Right. Like, give me it. Give me it. I gave you 20 friggin' bucks and you call me Granny? So anyway, here's what it says. And Susan, you'll completely agree with it, and then we're going to have to say goodbye. If you feel younger than your years, even though you might consciously know you're old, odds are you're going to live longer. Subjective age predicts how long you live. So you might be 80, but you sort of feel 65. Well, yeah, you're giving yourself that 15 years, and odds are you're going to live longer.
Good.
See, Suze? So you're
well,
good.
Well, I'd say that attitude and going to the gym.
That all helps. So
it all helps because that contributes to the feeling that you're strong.
Yeah, exactly right.
Says a woman that splatted this morning at 7 o'clock walking her dog on the sidewalk, and I popped right up.
You what on the sidewalk?
I fell. I tripped.
Oh, you fell? Jeez, that's not good.
Yeah, landed on my ankle, my knee.
I thought you said you squatted.
The heels of my hands,
oh,
and I broke
geez.
nothing. I skinned just a little bit off an ankle, and
all right.
was that.
Way to go. Fall down, you get back up. All right, you guys.
Just popped right back up.
That's
I thought
good.
to myself, that's a good sign. Just
it is.
Pop up and keep walking.
That's right. Keep on moving, guys. And thank God we got away from reality there for a second. Okay.
No, it's...
whatever.
Yeah, well, the bad news is reality just keeps happening. But anyway...
Yeah. I see by my new clock that Ron in Tampa sent me, it's time to go. So...
Bye.
Bye. Thank you all.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Okay,
Bye, Suze.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.